This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices, and you can get a special price and a 31-day money-back guarantee right now by going to pilchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right, Avram. We got to see a device. He showed it briefly, I think last week, but now we get to hear some more about it, right?
All right. So, artificial intelligence in your house. This is the NVIDIA Jetson Nano 2GB. It is a new development board from NVIDIA that was just announced last week, and I don't think you can even purchase it yet, but when you will be able to, it'll be $59. So what you get with this board is somewhat of, I wouldn't say necessarily a direct competitor, but it's somewhat of a competitor to a Raspberry Pi with better artificial intelligence, better machine learning capabilities. It has a quad-core processor that has 128 CUDA cores, which are good for graphics, but most importantly, good for things like image recognition, sound recognition, things like that. And what NVIDIA is doing is NVIDIA is making available a bunch of free online courses that you can use to learn about how to create your own AI programs in standard programming languages like Python, and you can use this board to do it. So my son and I spent a little time this week trying to get this up and running. We had a little bit of difficulty so far in that some of the tutorial stuff, some of the courseware we weren't able to get running yet, but we could see that this is quite a powerful machine. And a lot of people have used the 4GB version of this, which came out last year and costs quite a bit more at $99 to also build things. So, for example, last week, a couple weeks ago, I had on my PiCast show a guy named Ahad Kove who made a self-driving trash can, and I think I might have mentioned this before, and he needed one of these, actually the big brother of this, the Xavier NX, which is a little more expensive, but you could use this for the same purpose to see when a garbage truck was coming down the street. This is really good for doing things like building your own robot. It has 40 pins for general purpose input output, so it can provided that you can find the software with it. For it, it can work with any Raspberry Pi hat. It has it gets power over USB Type-C, which is kind of a nice improvement over the 4GB model that took a proprietary barrel connector. This will the old one would also charge over micro USB, but would not get a full amount of voltage for full performance. So this will work with any 5-volt 3-amp charger you have lying around for your phone, or if you have a Raspberry Pi, that's the standard for that. It has single HDMI out, and it's got three USB ports, and you can see it's got this giant heatsink because it needs it because it's doing so much processing. It runs a version of Ubuntu that NVIDIA maintains called eLinux, which is pretty straightforward, although I had to try and figure out how to set up a virtual network connection. Setting up a virtual network connection to control this remotely was more challenging than it should have been and was kind of slow once I got it running. A virtual network connection, for those who don't know, is if you want to remote control it. So let's say you don't want to connect this to a monitor because your other monitors are in use, but you do want to see what's going on the desktop. That's where you would use VNC, and you use that for this or for Raspberry Pi or whatever. But getting it set up on this involved a lot of work at the command line and was still a bit sluggish when I got it going. But it's overall a really powerful way, particularly when you start looking at the very detailed free online courses that NVIDIA has, a very detailed way to get to a very inexpensive, helpful way to learn how to make your own AI projects that you can use around the house or take to other platforms. So you can take this and you can learn how to have it do facial recognition, and then maybe take it to a more expensive platform where it will go where it will work even faster. Or you can use this, and using the GPIO pins, which power electronics, you could use this to build a robot. You could use this to build a smart speaker or a smart camera. So it also has a camera port on it for connecting to a standard Raspberry Pi camera. And also, of course, you could connect a USB webcam to one of the 3 USB ports here. So overall, this is a very promising product, the Jetson Nano, NVIDIA Jetson Nano 2 GB, coming for $59 later this month. It also has, in one really nice improvement over the prior model, if you get it in the US market, and I believe also in Europe, it comes with a free Wi-Fi dongle, which was something that was really sadly missing from the 4 GB model, where you had to find and get your own compatible Wi-Fi dongle, which not every Wi-Fi dongle was compatible with it, and that was extra money, whereas this comes with one that the drivers and everything are built into the operating system right out of the box.
Well, that's good, because that sounds reminiscent of the days of the old like Roku devices that didn't have Wi-Fi built in. You had to figure out, or the old DirecTV boxes, and you're like, well, is this the one that works? Oh no, this is revision 3. I need revision 2. Oh.
Yeah, I had quite a unpleasant time with the prior model trying to find a working Wi-Fi dongle, and I was very critical of it for that. When you consider the Raspberry Pi, if you get a $10 Raspberry Pi 0W that has Wi-Fi built in, I still don't understand why they can't have built a Wi-Fi radio onto the board. But I guess as long as they're giving you the dongle and it works right out of the box, that's good. They said that in some markets, like I think the Asian market, it will not come with a dongle, but it'll sell for $5 less, and you can therefore bring your own dongle. I hope the dongle support has gotten better in the last year since the original model came out, because at that time I was trying a couple different dongles and it didn't work. And what I had to do, not having Ethernet where I was to take an Ethernet to USB cable connector, connect it to my laptop, which has Wi-Fi, and then do connection sharing where it used my laptop's Wi-Fi as its Ethernet, which is something, by the way, you can do with any device that has Ethernet only. If you have Ethernet only and you're in a room without an Ethernet connection, you can take your laptop, your Windows laptop, probably also a Linux laptop or a Mac laptop, connect connect an Ethernet to USB, or just any Ethernet, connect an Ethernet to Ethernet on your laptop. If your laptop doesn't have Ethernet, you can use a $5 Ethernet to USB dongle and then run it to here. And then it's very easy in Windows to share your connection. So if you're ever stuck with a device that doesn't have Wi-Fi, that's something you can do.
Yeah, the network bridge, if nothing else, is pretty easy to set up in Windows too. But it's good that it's coming with the hardware. Like you said, it's a shame that it doesn't have it built in. That's so weird. Like you said, a $10 Raspberry Pi's got it built in. Just inexpensive, no
Yeah,
name cameras and stuff have it built in. It's weird that something that's designed for such a specific semi-connected state would not have it built in. That's weird.
yeah. I mean, especially because you might use it on something like a robot. I
Hmm.
mean, Ether. Don't get me wrong, Ethernet is nice. And did you know Ethernet celebrated? I'm gonna put the word in air quotes, celebrated, but celebrated that somebody celebrated the 40th anniversary of Ethernet last week.
I saw
There
something
was,
about that.
I got all these pitches about a celebration of Ethernet's 40th anniversary. And I thought, okay, I guess you could think about it that way. I mean, it has been very useful over its lifetime. It's just not something I think about as a modern miracle, maybe because it's kind of the annoying thing that you try to go or get past, right? Like having wires, it's like there's still people using a landline phone too. We're going to uh, celebrate the invention of the phone. I guess we should. I mean, but it's just the things that you're trying to get past or celebrate the invention of touchtone or something. Like you try to. It's a technology that's. I mean, Ethernet's going to be around a long time. Let's not. Let's be honest. Ethernet's going to be around a long time because it's still faster than Wi-Fi in a lot of cases.
Hmm.
A lot of people who use desktops prefer Ethernet for gaming. And if your desktop is in a room that is near an Ethernet connection, by all rights, you should use it. But, you know, I'll never forget when I saw my first laptop running Wi Fi and I thought, this is magic. I mean, you can get the internet without being plugged into something. Amazing. Let's celebrate that.
That's that's funny because I remember setting up my first network that was Ethernet and not uh, BNC coax, and thinking, "Oh, this is better."
Well, that's true too. I mean, everything's a little better than the thing before. Also, when you have Ethernet, when you have a network, oh wow, I have network. I can connect these things. Like one of the coolest
Yeah.
things I ever saw um, was when my friend. This is really dating me now. When my friend and I were in college, and I went to visit him at his school, and we went to the computer lab where all of their Windows PCs were networked and we each had a Doom. We each had Doom on a floppy disk, and we went and installed it so that we could play 4-player Doom.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, network computing, that's so awesome.
My I have the exact same story except it's Warcraft 2.
Yeah. So you know, I believe Doom was the first to do it though.
Yeah, I think so too.
I my final thing I'll say is if you want to know all about old video games like Doom, watch the Netflix series High Score, which has a whole episode about that. And actually, all of the 6 episodes of it are good.
And I just I just read a thing. God, I wish I'd saved the link because we joke about this in the industry way too frequently for me to have lost the link about uh, porting Doom to every screen that exists.
Oh yeah, I mean, the people are running it on Raspberry Pi now.
I I remember I think it was within 72 hours of the MacBook with the touch bar coming out, they had it running across that thing. Obviously, there's no need for that, and it is not playable because you can't see what's happening. But that's not the point. Or running it on an ATM. Oh, running it on the ATM made me happy. Anyway, people are people are crazy. Obviously, you've got this thing. You and you've been working with it. You must be in the process of writing about it.
Yeah, yes. And the process of writing review when I get all the courseware up and running. Also, this week has been very busy, and next week will be even busier because I will say this to everybody. It's Prime Day, so this is a good time, as I think I've mentioned on previous shows, where you could pick up find some interesting deals on tech that you might need. Some of it might be major tech that you really need, like a monitor. Some of it might be things that you've just been thinking about upgrading, like new headphones. And some of it might be, it might be little impulse purchase things that you could always use a better one or one extra of, like power banks or wrist rests or
Micro SD
whatever.
cards.
But micro SD cards. We will be covering the full gamut of interesting tech deals on Tom's Hardware this week, especially Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Prime Day officially starts Tuesday, but we'll be putting up some deals starting Monday. Writing about some deals starting Monday. So come check us out.
Well, I know it's a lot of work, and I know it can be exhausting and frustrating. But I can tell you, on behalf of those of us who enjoy the deals, what you do is very helpful, and you probably don't hear it often enough. But thank you to you and your team for doing it all, because there's so much. There's so much.
Is there anything in particular? Like, I always have a strategy. Is there anything in particular, like things that I'm like, yeah, if this, I see this thing on sale or this type of thing on sale, I'm gonna get one. Do you have anything on your, if I see it on sale, I'm gonna get it list?
Well, definitely micro SD. After what happened at the beginning of the show tonight, I'm gonna buy a half a dozen of those, since I seem to burn them out in a year. I don't necessarily have a whole lot. Last year, all of the Neat mics went on sale for Prime Day, and if they do it again, I'm likely to buy one for Michelle, because she's the only one in the group left that doesn't have one. So I'm likely to purchase one of those for her, because I got one for Danielle already. So the Neat mics are definitely on my agenda. The lights that we've been using in the studio here since the move are battery powered. So I've been looking for maybe some non-battery powered ones. We purchased them specifically for using on the cameras at CES, but they're on tripods in here. So if I can find some non-battery powered ones, but once again, it's a lot to do with the studio, as it usually is for me. As we've mentioned, the stand that the TV over here that was originally for you came from a Prime Day deal, as did several other things in the studio. So it tends to be studio stuff for me.
Yeah, I have one major item on my list, which is to get a second new monitor. I got one new monitor, a 4K Lenovo monitor a couple of weeks ago. I'm waiting to see if it goes. It was on sale, now it's off sale. I'm waiting to see if it goes on a better sale. If it does, or when it does, or eventually when I get annoyed, I will get a second one, because I have to have a matching one. So we will see about that.
Eventually, when I get annoyed.
I'm already annoyed because I set up. I showed you this before, but here for the audience at home, this is going to be hard to see on the webcam because it doesn't stretch very far, but I just set up my 3-monitor setup. So here's monitor 1, which is a Lenovo ThinkVision S28U10, which is pretty nice. And then over here, I've got my old Dell 24-inch and another old Dell 24-inch on top, which is off because I have to get a longer cable to go up there, which I have waiting in my mail. So I have an empty spot here for a 4th monitor, and my goal is to get a second one of the Lenovo monitor, put it on the right, and then have the 2 old monitors on top.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. A monitor, like, for example, the one that you just got, it's something that I would definitely consider, because the ones that I've got are from 2011. Now, granted, I've got like 8 of them around here because there's 2 of them I'm looking at right now, and I've got, I think, at least 4 up in the office. But having 4K ones like that definitely would be attractive, especially since it has the VESA mount, and I wouldn't have to use
Yeah.
the workaround that I'm using
Yeah.
on the HPs.
Yeah, no doubt. And one thing I will say for folks to look forward to is we're getting in and doing some testing of budget 4K monitors, and it is really affordable now to get a 27 or 28-inch 4K monitor.
Mm-hmm.
This Lenovo that I got was 265 when I got it for a 28-inch 4K monitor with pretty decent color, and at times it's been on sale as low as 220. So that's pretty good. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of frills in terms of ports, but it's pretty good for getting some good pixels.
If it gets the job done, that's the important part.
Yeah.
If you don't need the frills, that's fine. Well, Avram, again, thank you for the work you will be doing this week, as well as for showing off that super cool AI board. I was intrigued by the first one. I'm super intrigued by the price of this one. So it will definitely be on my list when it comes out. So as always, thank you for that. And I look forward to what we talk about next.